How's your spirit? I think I'm cool with this angle, so it's my turn. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Let's take it. Okay, I figured out where to see a comment if there were any. I'm not worried about that part. We have about 3 minutes until it's time to pray. So I'm just checking out some other features. Y'all want to listen to some music? There's that music on here. Not a lot, but let's see. We'll bring it down quite a bit. Really loud in my ear. I didn't even go that low. Uh, that's pretty good. I think we'll do that. I'm gonna go ahead and get myself together here. You who used to rock with me when I was on the old channel back in the day, you'll remember that there were plenty of times when I would stop to pray or to pay homage to my cousin and them, right? Well, it's Black History Month, and before we start talking about anybody else, I feel like we should give homage or a moment or two of silence to the loved ones that we've lost along the way in this fight for civil rights, because that's what this is. It's what it's always been to me. Despite what other people are saying or what you've seen or so on and so forth. Hold on, I'm gonna switch. Excuse me. Just a little bit more my style, guys. There we go. Like I say, basically. Okay, there we go. Now the volume doesn't want to act. There we go. Okay. So, anyway, as we get close to this moment, that's what I'm doing. I'm preparing for that. Back then, it was really a little bit more simple. I would just smoke uh, and, and chat online with you guys. Sometimes these days, I'll pour out a little coffee or whatever it is that I'm smoking. Old school. Because that's who I grew up with, the old school. We had a new school way of doing shit, but we're still trying to do it with an old school mentality, and that's crazy. And it gets ready to turn noon. Even though I'm talking, it's time for you to put your head down and get ready to pray. Remember, wherever you are, pull over to the side of the road, stop what you're doing, and just take at least enough time to give thanks to we're there for you in the journey. To the aunties and the uncles, and the grandmas and the grandpas, and the fighters and all the human rights fights and all the civil rights fights who were there. I don't thank you. We remember you. We are blessed to stand on the shoulders of giants, even though sometimes we may fall short. We are more than thankful to be able to follow your lead and pivot if need be. Thank you to the mothers and fathers who continue the fight and the struggle of civil rights, human rights, and equality around the globe, around the world, around the country. Thank you to everybody who showed up for me in whichever way you did. I'm still that girl. I'm just not a kid. And I'm thankful to those of you who stuck it through to the end. Because every Epstein, whatever, a small child, that was the only way that you could understand the impact that it would have today. It took them a long time to be willing to see me, but they see me. From a child of the industry to me until recently. Things that they did to me and recognizing what was in store for me. That's why we're praying for each other today. We're praying that we don't go that way. We're praying a lot of people back from the brink, just by leading peacefully, by not showing up where they expected us to be violent, or showing up peacefully in other places, singing and dancing and being the life that others couldn't be, until the light was shown that their life is just like mine. They just got to choose to live differently, to be the bigger person, the different person. We spend a lot of time attempting to outdo one another. And what we really want to do is grow together, stay together, be together, love one another unconditionally until there can be no more loving. Oh, ever gotten tired of loving somebody? Exactly. Many of us have. We've gotten tired of loving because we were with people who didn't love us. That's what it is to be a recovering over lover. We have to love ourselves enough to step back and begin to pray for those we love but want to go a different way. The only thing that we can do then is take the police follow. You know what that is? Our own journey with God. We all take the time while we're praying now and moving forward each day, God, in a significant way, and say, hey, I'm going through it. Can we talk for a minute? God will talk back to you. It's just you have to be like this, silent enough to listen, and willing to accept counsel from the Most High God. Ministry. Times are changing. We recognize too, you don't like naming things. No one wants to be labeled. That includes God and the angels. Why can't we come and go freely? Have a part of your lives in your community in a big enough way that we show up in the space because you say our name. You see? We've got that. It's just that you do it in such a negative way that we end up in spiritual combat in this. But what if you called on us in love? What if you spoke to us with the same understanding you expect us to have for you? What if, instead of asking anybody anything, you went to God and you simply said, good morning, Father. What would you have of me today? And you waited to see what God had to say. Do you really think you'd be sitting around listening, waiting for a long time? And if you are you listening with your human ears, your listening ears, or your spiritual ears? You see the difference? And those are just the beginning levels. I see 1, I see 3. 3 is a magic number. Ooh, wait. There's a lot happening in the world around us these days. Sometimes we're easily distracted. Thing is you can't be led astray. Lead us not into temptation. Why are you asking God to not lead you into temptation? But that God knows your prayers don't only go out to Him. They're not solely His. And that's mostly because of what you did. So you have to say, lead us not into temptation. Be thankful for the food that you were given. Be thankful to the one who created it and gave it to you. Ask that you're not that day by the others you encounter. You're bound to encounter a situation. So let's all pray that we can assist each other in getting out of situations today. That we stop putting anything other than that name on it. You're in a situation. I've been in that situation. Let me tell you what I did to get out of that situation. And maybe we can come up with a solution so that you're never in that situation again. See? Words matter. Words matter because when we use the smallest word possible to say the biggest thing, we impact the most amount of people. When we use a lot of words to say one thing, we take up too much time and energy. 11:11 on the clock, and people stop listening. That's why shorts and these short clips of videos really work for people. There are those who need long form content to digest and get the full understanding. But even in that, what they do not want is BS, which is why I decided to become a writer and a different type of leader. One of my favorite artists is a woman by the name of Patrice Small. And I love her. I loved her. She's passed away, but she rests in peace. One of the things is she was very long-winded or irrelevant. Now, when you're working for a publisher, that's where you put the filler and the fluff, right? That and you put in some schmexual stuff and blah 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 blah. But the true point of the matter is, as one of her avid readers, it just bugged me to no end. So what I did was create my own content and write my own things and shorten it. I will tell you what someone is wearing in a book, but we're not going to spend, 4 or 5 pages on the whole outfit. You know what I'm saying? That's where visualization comes in, and why a lot of people like graphic novels. You can do a little bit of words, a whole lot of the imagery, and get a huge message across. That's why live streaming and content creating hits so big. It hits all of the bells and whistles except for smell-o-vision. Same metric, yet it's an individual. It's you. That's why I had to say something when it came to people taking my content and using it to create a business model. What I was doing was creating a guide, a lesson. You see the difference? I'm a poor righteous teacher. When I say poor, it's not that I am poor in spirit or knowledge. It's simply that others would rather keep me poor so that I cannot reach those who need to be taught or teached, so to speak. You hear me now? So anyway, we've managed to make it to 13 minutes and some seconds here. If you were able to put your head down at any time at all, I appreciate you rocking with me. This is how I rock the boat, respectfully. I vote with my conscience. There's been many a year that I have sat out the vote because I didn't believe. This last time I didn't believe in anybody. So I didn't vote. Of course I want to vote in this election. Not the midterms, unless I'm on the ballot somewhere. Yet, I will be voting in the next presidential election. My name's going to be on the ballot. I don't care how I have to make that happen. You know? And the things is to show and prove that you can make in at least 20 states, and then you get funding from the government. That little thing where they ask you if you want to donate money, that's what that is. And technically, any content creator could have achieved that metric. So then it comes down to who's president. Now do you get what this whole thing was? You see why they put the kibosh on live streaming for the time being? Because this went wild when they were just looking for people to leave 1444. And however it is that it comes about, that they choose these group of black and white people, figure out who's the best or whatever it is behind the scenes and on camera. And that's what this was. They were looking for the next up and coming. They couldn't go out scouting. in 2020 due to COVID. The work doesn't stop for anybody. And then people found out that they had found what they were looking for, and then that's when things got tricky. Everybody got their feelings involved. But if you're going to support a civil rights leader, aren't you going to take someone who understands the fight rather than someone who's just popping their ish, so to speak? And would you come forward collectively from the shadows and tell the truth about how hard you've been working on civil rights behind the scenes, knowing that people are being murdered in broad daylight? Thank you. We're at that moment in history where people have decided if she'll stand out there and she'll catch a bullet, we'll stand beside her. Thanks. I was never alone. It's just now more people are willing to either expose those who have been bullying me or show and prove that they were always out here supporting me. We're not going to let you lie about this either. That's to the Charleston Whites, the Tariq Nasheeds, and the Anton Danielses of the world. You're going to complain about how you made your money because we know it was hypocrisy. That includes you, Oprah Winfrey. Or do we need to talk about the number of things you fucked up? There's people trying to get off some property, and you won't let them go through your property because who the hell are you? Sanctimonious motherfucker. You want to go to Africa and start a school, but you ain't did shit in this country. But you can have a car, yeah. If you give me a car, it's not gonna make me listen to you. So let me take it to the dealership and see if I can trade it in for something that's half the rest of the money, partner. That's how frugal I am. I'm not going to be spending anyway. Look at it, you guys. We made it to 17 minutes of peacefulness. Respectful. And in a climate where they're ratcheting up the heat every 30 seconds, I think we did a good job by comparison. Don't you? Let me turn this carefully music off because it's irritating me. Oh, pretty much anything that's not what I actually want to listen to is irritating. Somebody who joined in this moment of semi-silence with me. I hope that there was something that you could take away from this more than, yeah, there should go get vitriolic again. And understand that we've all got to look out for the common man in the end. It's just one planet, one planet. How much of it do you need to feel free? Honestly, that's to the supremacy group and all y'all's little, bubbles and covens, but to the supremacists as a whole. How much of the planet do you really need to feel free and like nobody's bothering you? Maybe we can see about doing something about it.